All right, this is your brother Issachar coming at you with another lesson. First off, I want to give our praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstones to learn this truth from. Honors to the elders and brothers out there pushing this word through the four corners of the earth within truth and sincerity. And shalom to the Akwat that's listening and learning. Today's video is going to be entitled Farmers Turn Trump Flag Upside Down. All right. It's going to be entitled Farmers Turn Trump Flag Upside Down. Now I got aspired to do this lesson because of that. You're going to see this within this video right here. You can see the caption. It says Trump screwed the white farmers too. All the farmers fly your Trump flags upside down because originally this farmer, he was a Trump supporter, of course. And that's why they turning it upside down. He was a Trump supporter, but now he's seeing all of the things that Trump is doing, and it's affecting them in a negative sense. All right. And they're not for it. And as we've been saying, we was like, these presidents, they're not elected, they're selected because they're nothing but puppets. They're just here to play out a role. They're actors. All right. So at the end of the day, these presidents are not for the people at all. At all. They're going to follow orders. They're going to do what the elites tell them to do, and they're going to move forward with the agenda, which is the New World Order. And a lot of people going to start to realize that, man. A lot of people going to start to realize that these presidents, these mayors, senators, Republicans, whoever, are not for the people. And that's going to cause greater division here in America. All right. So let's go ahead and play this video. Then we're going to grab a few scriptures.
I guess you fucked around and found out,
You see Jake over there wilding out, man, because that's the spirit that Jake gonna have in these last days too, because they gonna realize who the enemy is as well. But as we've been saying, man, we was like, look, Trump is not gonna be no savior. We already know that. All right, we already know that he's not gonna get in office and just he's not gonna make America great again. All right, he's not gonna do that. All right, they probably gonna play it out to the point where he does a few things and people are gonna get behind him, just like how they did when TikTok was supposed to go away, and then literally what it was, not even a day later, he met up with he so-called met up with people, and then they came up with a deal, and then they got TikTok right back on. All right, and then a lot of people were behind Trump because of that. It was like, oh, okay, he did this. Okay, well, maybe he might be okay because simple people like simple things. All right. So it might play out like that. It might play out where Trump does a few good things, and then people may actually be like, you know what? He might not be that bad. And then the next thing you know, he's going to follow those orders from the elites. And you're going to see this place go down quicker and quicker and quicker, man. It's not going to be a thing where he's literally going to make this place great again. It's not going to happen. And literally, like it says right here, Trump screwed the white farmers as well. Yeah, these people, they're going to realize too. And once these people realize, you already know it's going to go down, because these are the ones that owns all the guns, and they ready. They ready to go to, the White House or whatever the case may be and stand out there armed so they can speak their part. So it is what it is, man. So let's go ahead and grab the scriptures. We're going to start off with Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1. As you can see, it says message to Egypt. And we already know that America is spiritually Egypt. It's spiritually Egypt, Rome, and Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. This is verse 1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Yeah, because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, he is coming back on the chariot, a so-called UFO. All right, you can read about that in the second Ezra, the 13th chapter. It's going to be so huge to the point where, like Ezra said, he couldn't tell where it began and where it ended. All right, verse 2, it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That's what's getting ready to happen now, because America is divided. You're going to see Americans going against Americans. That's why they got it, the red versus the blue. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen, man, because there's nobody's on the same page here. Verse 3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. All right, and that cruel lord is speaking about Yahweh Shai, because he is going to be cruel to these heathens, man. All right, he's going to be, especially with Esau, he's going to be hella cruel with them. All right, he's going to be fierce. He's going to bring true authority here on the earth. But this is what's getting ready to happen, though, before he comes back. The Egyptians, Americans, are going to be against each other. All right, everybody that thought that, you know, they were for Trump or whatever, they're going to realize that Trump is not for them, and they're going to start speaking. They're going to start going out there and making moves, man. They're going to start making moves, and we can read about this right here. Let's get, we're going to get 2nd Ezra 15 and go to verse 14. And it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Kings and princes in today's age will be the presidents, the vice presidents. All right, those people. Those are the ones that's literally the leaders of this whole country, right? So it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're not going to be thinking about the safety of these presidents, these mayors, so forth and so on, man. They're not going to be thinking about them. When they see this place crumble, and they realize that they actually have to go through this hell, and they're going to see and realize who's behind it, they're not going to give a fuck about these presidents or whoever is in power, man. These people going to take it to the streets and go crazy. And we that close to that moment, man. All right. Verse 17, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Yeah, because it's going to be checkpoints set up. All right. When martial law is established, that's what's going to happen. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. This is Jacob's trouble. This is why we say, in order for you to really make it up out of here, you got to be a man of the Lord. That's it. If the Lord is not with you, it's a wrap. And that's why you got to pray consistently. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's getting ready to happen. All right, Esau's going to finally press the button one of these days. All right, he's going to finally realize, okay, it's time. He's going to cause something to happen, and then all out hell is going to break loose, man. People are going to be running into people's houses, apartments, running to these empty warehouses that used to be Walmart or Jewel Osco, Walgreens, or whatever the case may be. They're going to be looking for anything and everything to survive. And like I said, they're going to be going to these people's houses, apartments, and they're going to be literally doing whatever it is necessary to get whatever it is that they have in that crib, man, because of the lack of bread, because there's going to be a famine. And like I said, President Trump probably going to pop up on TV somewhere. He's going to say something like how you be seeing in those movies. The president come out of nowhere and say, all right, people, we're going through a state of emergency. Stay in the house, do this, do that. Martial law has been declared. All of this. We got to see how it plays out. People going to listen to him and be like, man, they're going to feel stupid. They're going to feel stupid and confused. Man, because they had hope, they had belief, they had faith in this whack ass president. and if the white farmers are feeling like this, How much more for you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, man? We've been told you not to trust in this place. Point blank, period. All right, if they starting to realize you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans need to wake up, man, because a lot of y'all still have hope in this country. Y'all have hope in this land that literally put y'all into slavery, captivity. You can't be free in a land that you serve captivity in, man. All right, let's get Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah. We're going to get Isaiah chapter 30. All right. Then we're going to start at verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Thou wouldst to go down into Egypt, and have not asked of my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Like we said earlier, America is spiritually Egypt. If you trust in this place, it's going to be your confusion. Why? Because when things start to go down, you're going to ask yourself, why is this happening? Trump and whoever it is literally promised us this. They said we was going to get stimulus checks. Elon Musk was saying all this other bullshit about people was going to get like $225 to $5,000. And you already know how Jake get whenever they hear and they about to get free money. You know, they start believing everything and anything that these people say, man. And the next thing you know, they start seeing a couple of other quote unquote miracles. they may see certain prices go down for certain things for a little while or whatever. And then in the back of their mind, they're going to be like, you know what? It's not that bad. We can maintain. All we got to do is go out there, hustle, get to the money, get to the money. You know how Jake is. Go to the job, do what they got to do every day, and then it's maintain. And that's it. It's not going to be like that, man. It's not going to be like that. So your shame and your confusion is going to be upon yourself because you trusted in the shadow of Egypt, Pharaoh, the president, Trump, America. You trusted in this place instead of trusting in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's the only power and Lord you should be believing in and have faith in, man. That's it. But we already know that 2/3 of our people not going to do that because they don't have faith. The only thing that they believe in is the massa, man. They just believe in massa. That's it. If massa don't say something, then hey, they not for it, man. Point blank, period. Let's get one last scripture and close it out. We're going to get Jeremiah chapter 17. And then we're going to go to verse 5. And it says, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in the salt land, and not inhabit it. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. It's point blank, period. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when he cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. All right. So like it says right here, cursed be the man that trusted in man. You trust in these presidents, you trust in these mayors, you trust in these doctors, these lawyers, so forth and so on, man. You pretty much a cursed man. You're a cursed man because you trusting in them instead of trusting in the Lord. And whenever you trust in somebody else other than the Lord, your heart is going to depart from the Lord, and you're going to be far from him, which is a bad thing. It says, for he shall be like the heath in the desert. You know, you walk in the desert and you really anxious to find some water because it's hot, it's dry, you need some type of relief. You're not going to find that, man. And that's exactly what's going to happen in Jacob's trouble. People going to be looking for a way out. They'll be looking for some type of relief. They're going to be hoping that this ends soon. They're going to be looking for some type of safety, but they're not going to find it, man. Just for the simple fact that they didn't believe in the Lord. But it says right here, blessed is the man that trusts in the Lord and whose hope the Lord is. The elect, they're going to be going through some of this hell. And guess what? They're going to find that quote unquote water. They're going to find that safety. They're going to find that relief because the Lord is going to perform miracles for them, man. And then ultimately they're going to get beamed up in a chariot so they can be saved from that nuclear destruction. That's what it is. So at the end of the day, like I said, if you see them turning the flag upside down, they starting to realize, hey, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans need to get with it. Y'all need to wake up and realize, hey, if they doing this, it must be something going on, man. All right. So I'm gonna end it with that. Just wanted to make this a quick video because, like I said, when I saw this, I'm like, you know what, I could bring this out for edification. So I'm gonna end it with that. So I hope this is edifying. So with that, I'm gonna say, call Halayim Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstones to learn this truth from. Honors to the elders and brothers out there pushing this word through the four corners of the earth within truth and sincerity. And shalom to the Aquat that's listening and learning. And Yahweh Ratazad, I'll be back with another lesson. Keep pushing, Yasharala. Keep pushing. We almost out of here. Shalom.